Oppression can affect personality. I have found that being without money and having lived a very miserable life has affected me. And while being around others that are living completely different lives, I act in a negative manner. Like being oppressed, I mean, sometimes, like you start to like not hate, but I guess you could say envy, other people. You know, you start to envy other people on how they're living a different life, on how clearly you can see, you know, that they are living a different life. And like this oppression, I mean, when you're without money, when you're like, how would you say it, on the minimum, barely surviving, barely able to buy, food, it gets depressing. It gets, how would you say it? I guess you could say, I don't know, like it affects my personality. When I'm around different people, like I feel like, you know, weird. I feel like, how would you say it? Depressed. I don't feel myself. I feel like, I'm acting like, scared. I'm acting like, how would you say it? Vulnerable. I'm acting like, like if I'm just observing instead of actually just being myself, you know? I act like if I'm a ghost, I guess you could say, because I find it, how would you say it, depressing not being able to be, you know, in a certain status or to be able to maintain, because I'm not one that, how would you say it, I change with money. No, if I have a little, if I have a certain, how would you say it, if I have a certain amount of money, you know, I'm able to be myself. I'm able to be myself. Whether I have the cheapest clothes. I'm able to 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 act like myself. To keep my personality. But it's when I don't have no money whatsoever. When I find myself like on the street. When I find myself like not to be able to take a shower, when I find myself, how would you say it, around people with extremely a lot of money, I still feel like, even though I have a little bit of money, I still feel myself. It's only when I don't have no money, when I'm not able to take a shower, when I how would you say it, when when I'm living on the street. And even then, sometimes I'm able to, how would you say it, keep my personality. But sometimes there's these times when I feel oppressed, when I feel, how would you say it, tormented, when I feel, how would you say it, harassed, when I feel, how would you say it, put down, is when this other personality, I guess you could say, because I mean, I'm not bipolar, but this situation affects my personality, and I'm depressed. I'm just like quiet. I'm constantly quiet. I'm constantly observing the other people that are around me, and like it affects my personality. And I just, at times, I say to myself, man, I can't let that affect my personality. I can't. Sometimes I react like with aggressive, like, how would you say it, speaking about negativity, getting mad about it, getting agitated, and just talking, saying negative comments about this and about that, and bringing up negative topics and talking about them and speculating them. Like I don't want to be that person, you know. I don't want to be that person, and so that's why I say, to all those people that are, watching this video. I mean, I make these videos for myself to be able to look back and to say, you know what, to myself, you know what, that's true because I've learned that it helps. I watch my own videos and I get encouraged. I get encouraged. I feel motivated, just watching myself. And so to the people that happen to watch these videos, I want to say, you know what? Don't let, you know your status, if you're oppressed or how would you say it, being harassed or a certain aspect is being how would you say it, you're being affected by a certain aspect. Don't let that affect your personality. Don't let that affect who you are. Don't let that bring you down in any manner whatsoever, because how would you say it does? I feel like it does. Like, you start, like, I start to react negatively. I start to get mad. I start to say negative comments. I start to bring up negative topics, like I was saying, like I just said. And like, that's wrong, it's just wrong, focusing on negativity, you know because of a certain status, or because you feel harassed, or because etc. And this does, I've learned that it affects, and that I can't allow it of I can't allow it to affect my personality whatsoever.